Kia ora everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Untidy. My name is Matilda Green. I am a content creator and mum of 3, and I'm here with my positively ravishing co-host, Hannah Davison.
Thank you. I need that today. I will take it gladly and greedily. My name is Hannah Davison. I'm the mother of 2. I'm the co-founder and author of the My Big Moments children's books. Now, every time you say, Matty, online content creator, we naturally go to OnlyFans. And can I say...
We do.
Oh, guys... For people who have been keeping up with the podcast, we did a little shout out to listeners. I'm like, hey, if you guys have been making money off OnlyFans and Feet Finder and making bank, please tell us. Obviously keep you anonymous, but we've got to know. Would you believe...
We have a content creator in our midst, an OnlyFans online content creator.
Oh my God, I couldn't have been more delighted, honestly. So let me tell you, and she has given us permission to read this out on the pod. We will not be sharing her name. However, she says, hi ladies, love the podcast. Thank you. Here to say, I did OnlyFans in both Auckland lockdowns and it was a brilliant side hustle. I was clearing about $1,000 a week and putting in only about an hour's work a day. Yeah.
That's not too shabby.
That's not shabby. That's not shabby. A very small player in the world of OnlyFans, but I was pretty pleased with that result. Most of the money I earned was from interacting with subscribers, not the actual content. I should mention that I don't have kids, so I had plenty of time and privacy to do such a thing. Also, I was 40 when I did it, so it's not just for young, hot Gen Zs. Feel free to share if you want. Keep up the great work.
I love that.
Thank you. Thank you. Now we know what's possible. And do you know what's great is that my friend who's a photographer, who I was like, he wouldn't take the photos of the feet, we could have made a beautiful thing. He then messaged listening to the podcast and was like, feet, let's make magic. I was like, finally. He goes, it was you that it was dithering. I was like, I object. It was definitely you. So look out. You never know.
Maybe he has a little secret foot thing going on and he's just been waiting for you to mention it. And he's like, thank God I can take photos of those delicious feet.
Finally. And then I also had, there was a lot of, sorry, I've got a dog here that's actually the most problematic dog I've had so far. It would be an entire episode to tell you what this dog has put me through.
No.
Oh,
it's not the standard poodle, is it?
No, standard poodle's a dream. No, this is a German short-haired pointer with extreme separation anxiety.
Oh, bless.
Extreme. Velcro dog. Okay, story for another day. Anyway, yeah, I had a lot of messages about people going, why didn't you carry on with the feet? And then I had a friend who was sending creative direction. He's like, okay, listen. Okay, what you do, here's what you do. You do sitting in a movie theater. You got a man eating popcorn out of the thing. He eats as he's going through eating the popcorn. It reveals your foot coming through the bottom of the box. He's like, hear me out. He's like, I'm not into feet. I promise, I'm not into feet. I'm like, how are you coming up?
Are you sure you're not into feet? It sounds a bit into feety.
I know.
If I'm honest.
I know. And we did share a hashtag a while ago when we were having foot jokes called toes for the bros. So I question you.
And I was thinking, how do you have kind of a foot photo shoot? Would it be one of those those newborn photo shoots where you dress them up and lay them on something with a nice kind of glowy, slightly blurred kind of lighting, or
draped over a pumpkin. Hey, look, we're open to ideas. If people are feeling creative, send them through. Who knows what's possible now? Who knows what's possible?
Oh God.
When people are doing content in the gym. I mean, I mainly see this stuff on that Instagram account, Influencers in the Wild, which is so funny. And when people are have their tripods set up and they're filming themselves, they're filming their thirst trap reels in the gym.
Yeah.
Imagine if you imagine if I walked into a movie theater with my tripod and ring light and set up this filming, popped my foot through the bottom of the box, topped it up with popcorn.
Oh, can you imagine? I mean, you'd be kicked out. It feels like anybody bringing a tripod into a movie theater. No,
for a start, problematic.
It's problematic. Yeah, there's something going on there.
We're gonna need to think how this is gonna.
I'd be bringing the kids out of their quick smart. There's one with a tripod. Out we pop. Don't know this is the movie theatre for us today, kids. Come on.
I want to know, what would you pay for that content, Matty? What would you pay?
Oh, God, what wouldn't I pay, Bean?
Oh,
That's the question. I mean, what wouldn't I pay?
that's right. That's priceless stuff. Anyway,
Oh.
keep the ideas coming, guys.
And don't you think just having a tripod anywhere is really embarrassing? There's
So
like something
embarrassing.
about carrying your own tripod to
Well,
something. It's just so embarrassing.
Well, remember when we used them in Sydney for the Sydney junket, and then we had to carry tripods and ring lights back to New Zealand, and it was so humiliating.
Oh, so no, because remember I didn't take mine, and then they like I left it in the hotel.
Oh yeah.
Remember? And they called and were like, "Hey, you left your ring light here," and I was like, "Oh my God, I don't want it! Like, I want a new. I'll get a new one in New Zealand because it was like a really cheap one." And I was like, I can't
be seen.
carry a box with a tripod and a ring light through the airport. I actually just can't.
Oh
It's
man,
just
imagine if you'd
too.
been seen. That would have been so good.
Oh, I know, just lugging it around like, oh, don't worry, guys, just got to
Can't-
get content on the plane. Can't
Can't
you know,
go anywhere
content
without
never
my ring light.
sleeps.
You've probably got one of those ones that stick to the top of your phone.
Oh, do you know what? I'm tempted to be getting a little gimbal.
Oh,
Have you seen? Yeah, the gimbal
get
with the
yourself a
microphones on them.
gimbal. Ooh,
I think I will.
that would be smooth.
Yes, they are. They are quite fancy. I think I'm going to get one of those.
Oh my
They're
God,
not cheap though.
How funny would that be? Every night again, we're going to be catching up. Well, you know, at time recording, we're going to be catching up this Friday, which I'm very
Yes.
excited about because we're recording in person in Auckland. And then every time we do that, we sort of see if we can think of a funny little reel that we can make. And we've had a wee idea. Imagine if you were doing that, holding your gimbal.
Oh yes. Well,
Yeah.
can I get it before then?
I'm going to have to
Leave
pack
it where?
specifically for preparing for that reel. I will
Yeah.
be bringing appropriate clothing and footwear.
Yes. Well, it's sort of like it's borderline fitness reel, isn't it?
It is.
You
Little
know, it's
challenge.
sort of like crossing over two industries. We've got your funny reels and we've got your Fitspo reels. This is a bit of both, isn't it?
Should we do one of those couples challenges?
Oh yes.
Shall we?
What's the one where it's like?
I could lift you. I could totally lift you.
Yeah, I reckon I could lift you. I've been working out. We can
All
lift
right.
each other.
All right.
We can do it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's
I
see.
think we can do.
Let's do a couples challenge.
The one where we're like back to back linking arms, and then we
Yeah.
sort of like flip each other over the back.
Oh
Have
my
you seen that one?
God. You know, I've actually just filed for a new ACC claim, and I can update. I'm fine. I do need some work on my knees. I can definitely update that. I haven't said it, but this is great. This is great. And anyone out there, if you're like, hey, please do this challenge next time you see one another, send it in.
Oh, please do. Please do. I won't be doing have you seen the one that's like, I had coffee with my 18-year-old self?
No, what's that?
Trend. Oh, it's like so you basically take some sort of like whimsical video of yourself and then,
I
post
already
it.
hate it.
Same. And then you have lots of writing on it, basically saying like, I had coffee with my 18-year-old self, and a lot of it is like, I was on time, she was late, she had a sadness in her eyes, and I could
Oh.
tell that she didn't believe in herself. And I actually just
Oh,
can't.
no, my
I know.
18-year-old self, I'm sure, was completely delusional and
Yeah.
out drinking 6 nights a week, minimum.
Yeah, same. Mine was
You
just like covered in fake tan. I wouldn't even recognize her because she
Yeah.
just looks like a different ethnicity, to be honest.
She had no time for coffee. She was drinking vodka out of a plastic bottle.
She's not meeting anyone for coffee, first of all, okay? You know,
She's not getting up at that time.
it's far too
She can't make
grown
you
up.
coffee. She's not interested in talking to an old 41-year-old. God, boring. What a chore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe that can be ours. I met up with my 18-year-old self for coffee. She
She
didn't
didn't make
show.
it.
She didn't show, and so we called it a day. There you go. There's the content. Here's the whimsical video with some like audio that's like la 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 la. It's just
And you're sitting there awkwardly looking a bit rejected in a cafe.
yeah. I just feel like so much of this content is very much like, here's me. Do you know what I mean? It just feels really like,
Yes.
this is me.
I made it.
I made it, and it's me.
I'm
You know,
fixed.
it's like so much about so much of Instagram is like that anyway. It's just like, here's what I'm up to. Here's a lot of you guys have been wondering what I've been doing. This is it.
I know you've missed me.
I know you miss me. Here I am, everyone.
I know you've been waiting for this. I've got a shout out. I've got a shout out for Kez at City Fitness in Burnside. She
Oh,
came over and
hello,
said
kids.
hello, listener in the wild. She listens to us when she's walking. Hello, Kez. Thank you for coming and saying hello.
I love that. Oh, I feel like there's a lot of people who listen while they're out walking. You know, it feels like quite that's the vibe.
We
So
do,
if
and
you're
we
out walking
listen.
right now, good for
Yeah,
you.
good for you. You
Get those
get those
steps.
10,000 steps. You get those
Yeah,
steps.
get those steps, girl.
Yeah.
Love it.
Oh, so great.
Um,
Yeah, there was a moment because Kez is a personal trainer at the gym. There was a moment when I'm like, oh, she's going to come over and be like, excuse me, I don't know what you're doing with your technique, but you got it completely wrong. But she didn't. She
It's
just came over and say hi, which was really nice.
oh, yeah, God, like when there's a trainer gunning for you, you're like, "Oh my God, they're gonna come and be like, no, you're upside down. That's not
Yeah,
how you
yeah,
do
that's not how you
this."
use that equipment. That's pretty embarrassing.
Oh, that
Oh
is
my
embarrassing.
God.
Oh God. So
So
theme.
funny. Okay, anyway, Maddie, you've just come home.
I have just come home from
From
quite the adventure.
whence have you been?
Well, the fam and I went over to Sydney and we did the Disney cruise.
Good
And when I tell
Lord.
you it was so incredible,
What?
honestly, it was amazing. Like absolutely amazing. But it's a lot. Like traveling with little kids is a lot, especially when there's a lot going on, like a Disney cruise. And so at the end of the cruise, we were like, right, ready to go home. We had to get off at like, 7 or 8 in the morning and then go straight to the airport, get on the plane. So
Oof.
we're at the airport, all ready to go. I had just bought a lovely new cardigan from the Australian wool shop. Then I get a notification on my phone saying the flight's cancelled. And I was like, righto, yeah, that's not
So
a
you're
great start.
at the airport.
Oh yeah, we're waiting to board.
Great,
We're
great, great,
waiting
great,
to board. Yeah.
great,
Yeah.
great. With your
So
3 little kids.
with my 3 little kids who are on a fun hangover, they're just coming down from the how would you even describe it? Just the absolute sensory overload that is a Disney cruise. So, they're coming down pretty hard from that. Flight's cancelled. And I was like, hold it together. So I was like, hey, kids, the adventure is continuing.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, this is going to be cool. And then we went to New Zealand and we were like, hey, what's the deal? And they were like, oh, yeah, because it's due to weather, you've basically got to sort yourself out. So go find friends or family to stay with or go book yourself a hotel and we'll try and get you on another flight. And we're like, oh, can we get on another flight today? And they were like, no, maybe 7 o'clock tomorrow. And I was like, oh my God. Bear in mind, it's 1 p.m. in the afternoon. And so we would have to have found a hotel that night and then got on a flight and then got home at like 1 o'clock in the morning the next night. So I was like, okay, that's
oh.
cool. I'm staying positive. I'm still grateful. We're all still
It's
grateful. We're
it's
good.
still an adventure. Still an
Still an
adventure.
adventure. And then anyway, so we booked ourselves a hotel. Thank God we got in the airport hotel, which I was very excited about.
Oh.
So didn't have to, pile them all in a taxi and figure that out. Anyway, so then we put them in the hotel. We get them McDonald's. We put them in front of a movie. They thought it was like the best thing in the whole world.
They're like, I'm sorry, I know we've just been on a Disney cruise. This is so much better.
This is way better. This is awesome. But it's like, it just made me realize also traveling with little kids and sometimes the expectations that we put on them, like we kind of expect them to be on their best behavior, deal with everything perfectly, perfectly go through security, because Audie lost her shit going through security, lost her shit because
What was
didn't
she
wanna walk.
smuggling? Was she creating a diversion? Who was up to no good?
Well, that's what it felt like. So she was upset because Art wouldn't carry her. He had literally had to carry her basically the entire time for like 3 days straight on the cruise. She didn't want to walk anywhere. So Art was like, had
I
to
wish I
carry
had
her
this option.
all
Like,
the
you know what?
time. Oh, wouldn't that be good? Just to be like, I don't want to walk. I don't feel like it. So carry me, slave.
Sometimes I imagine like how nice it would be to be in a baby Bjorn, and like
Oh God, wouldn't it
just
be
imagine like seeing
delish?
someone walking around with a full size adult and a baby Bjorn, but you're just like, oh god, this is just so good.
I
I'm really
know.
tired.
And like everyone just smiling at you, just going, oh,
Oh,
lovely.
stroking your weak
Hi.
cheek. Yeah.
I know, exactly. To be
Oh
so nice.
bless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Audie was like, had to be carried the whole time and she was having a bit of a meltdown. And then we got to the airport and Art was like, you're going to have to walk, Audie, because I've got all the bags. And like everyone was just carrying like a million things. And she just lost her shit for so long. It just
Wow.
continued and continued. She screamed and screamed and screamed and screamed. And we're like waiting in line at security. The silver lining was everyone just ushered us through. So,
Oh,
like,
brilliant.
it was really good because there were long lines everywhere, and I was like, "Oh my fucking God, this is just a nightmare. Like, this is how we're gonna survive." And then all of these staff were like, "Come through, come through, come through, like, come through here." And I was like, "Oh, actually, thanks, Ollie. It was pretty handy."
Absolute
And
blessing in disguise. And she's an endurance screamer as well. And this is now what you need. You're like, hey, what do you remember last time? Do it again.
yeah, we're gonna need you to pull that out the bag again, Dal. Yeah, so we got through that. That was all fine. But my God, what a marathon. What a marathon.
Oh, it is a
Oh,
lot traveling with wee kids.
it's a lot, eh? And it's sort of, I get a bit triggered because it's like 5-year-olds and under, they're not going to be grateful, right? Like, they're not going to be like, "Oh gosh, mother, we're so lucky that you've taken us on this cruise and that so many other children wouldn't have this opportunity." Like, they're
No,
not going to think like that.
this is a cool day. They'll probably forget almost
Yes.
immediately.
Yeah, exactly. And like, Milo would complain about stuff. Like, we were at the airport and he was like, "I want that giant Chupa Chup that other kid's got." And I was like, "Well, that kid maybe wants to go on a Disney cruise, so can't have everything that everyone else has got, can you?" It's just like, I expected them to almost be like falling over themselves to like be like, "Oh wow, that was so cool, thank you so much." But like, they just don't.
No.
They're 5 and 3 and 1.
Were
Like, they're
they
not going to do that.
were they delighted in the moment when things were happening?
Yes,
Great. That's
yes,
where you've got
they
to take
were.
it. That's where you've got to take it from.
Exactly.
You're like, look at their little faces, their sparkly little eyes, their glowing
Yeah.
little cheeks, they have little
Those are
smiles,
the
and be like,
moments.
that's the gratitude. I'll enjoy this
Exactly.
right now. Yeah.
We'll just have to remember that moment. I mean, we met Belle. We met so many characters and it was so exciting. And truly, I got swept up in the Disney magic too. Like, we were waiting in
Did
line for
you?
ages to meet Belle. And I know that she is a person with a wig on. Like, I am well aware that she is just a normal person. But I was waiting in line, starting to feel a bit nervous. I was like, "Oh my God, what am I going to say to her?" And I was like, "Who gives a shit?" Like, she's a person with a wig on. But I was so excited to like meet Belle from Beauty and the Beast, and I was like so caught up, and I was like, "Oh my God, Milo, there's Mickey over there!" And so we like got to go meet Mickey and stuff. And it's like, again, I know it's a person in a suit, but it's so exciting. It was
See,
really cool.
when I did the What Disney Princess quiz one day when I had time on my hands, I was Belle. So
Were you?
now you look at me differently, don't you?
I do. I do. I would want to be Belle for sure. I mean, she's the best. She's the best Disney princess. Do you think?
I hadn't even watched the movie, and then I later had to, because I'm like, what does it mean? Here's the thing: I am a bit afraid of people dressed up as stuff
Oh,
because I find them unpredictable. So like clowns, mimes, things like that. I find them
like hard to
quite
read.
impossible to read, disturbing. You just don't know what to expect, and so I think I would be frightened. Like, how do you relate? How do you interact with Mickey?
Well, that's the thing.
It's
And
a
they
man
also
in a
don't
mouse
talk.
suit.
Yeah,
So what are they doing? They're waving. What are they doing?
they're like, well, they're dancing and they're waving and they're hugging. And that's the thing. It's
I
like,
don't
who
want to
is
be
under
hugged.
there?
I don't
Who
want to
is
be
under
hugged
there?
by. Did you get hugged by Mickey?
Yeah, I did.
You
I
don't
got
even
hugged,
like hugs.
and I got hugged by Pluto as well. And I just got swept up in the magic. I was like, I don't like hugs, but sure, I'll hug you, random person in a suit, whatever.
When is the next time I'm going to hug Pluto?
Oh, exactly. That's the thing. And it made me think, imagine if they were just some really like, I don't know, like sniveling person under there that you just would never normally.
I don't know. They've got to be someone who, like, I want to believe they're a charismatic kindergarten teacher or something,
Yeah.
like someone who loves kids and entertaining, and that's just super fun for them. I just had this strange thought that imagine if you went in to hug Mickey, and because I'm like, how would you combat being freaked out by man in a suit? Like, imagine if you just whispered something really deranged, sort of like, into their ear. You went in for a hug.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, what would you whisper that's really like, oh, I don't even know. Something just like, "You're sweating in there, are you, Mickey?" Or something like.
You want a nibble of my cheese?
But imagine if they talked, like they'd be like, "Hey kids, like come on in for a hug with Mickey." If they're just like, I know, oh God. But it was, it was genuinely amazing. And also just really nice to be in a space where children are like treasured. They're like so welcomed and everything is for them and their happiness. And it was just really nice. All the staff there made the effort to remember their names, and they'd see them and be like, "Hi Milo, hi
that's
Audie,
cute.
hi Autumn." And I thought like, oh, it's just really cool for them to be in a space where they're like, this is for us, like we are
Yeah.
welcomed and people are excited for us to be here rather than other adults being like, oh, yeah, kids are here, right?
Yeah.
It's
Kids
really
in the
cool.
cafe, kids on the plane. Yeah, that is nice because usually they're in adult spaces, I guess, unless they're at like school and preschool and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
I experienced a new fun thing last week,
Oh, do tell.
which I'm not used to. Premenstrual anxiety is now a thing for me.
Well,
What
are we sure?
the
Like,
fuck?
if it was a one-off, like, is it definitely a premenstrual thing? Or maybe it was just like, were you feeling anxious on the day?
Well, I don't know because I was like, well, what does it mean? It tied in with being premenstrual, but then I'm like, well, am I premenstrual? Is it perimenopause? Is something happening with the planets? Like, I don't even know what's going on anymore.
There's too much. There's too much to pin it down to one thing. It was probably just a trifecta.
Absolutely. And it was just like, it was such a hormonal roller coaster. And you're like, do you know what? Sometimes being a woman, every day you feel like a different person. And you're like,
Yes.
it's a roller coaster. All I want is a locomotive. Just go
Mm-hmm.
very steadily in one straight line. Can you just
Yeah.
cut us a break?
Yeah.
I was telling my sister this, and she shared a little story. In our family, we use the word basically when we're being ratty. Like, I'm on task. We can be not very nice sometimes when we're just like super focused and on task. She was a bit tasky one day. She was in the kitchen, trying to prepare dinner for all of the people, and they're all coming in wanting things and asking for stuff, and they've lost things. And she's just like, oh my God, Anyway, also a bit premenstrual. And so her daughter, my niece, comes into the kitchen. She sort of steps in and she's like, just so we're clear, where are you on a scale of 1 to hide the knives?
Oh my God, that is so good. How
From
old
the
is
mouth,
she, by the way?
10, mouth of a 10-year-old.
Oh, that
Just
is
so we're
so
clear,
good.
where are we on a scale of 1 to hide the knives? What a great way to break the tension.
Oh, and there's so many moments like that as a child, when you're like, how is the best way to navigate this particular energy? Because there is an energy. Someone's not stoked. Are we going to like break the ice with a joke, or do we more like keep out the way and just get on with what we need to do?
I just thought that was just an amazing way to diffuse the energy in that space as well. And like to have the confidence to know that she could go in and say that and that it was going to get a laugh. Like, that's great. And it also means, like she feels safe to do that, which is incredible. I might not have.
It's really cool. Yeah, I was just going to say exactly the same thing. I feel like that's a testament to your sister that her daughter can
Like, she
do
can be a
that.
psycho and at the same time, daughter can come in and crack a joke and gets away with it.
Yeah.
I just think like learning how to crack a good joke. Like, if my kids can make me laugh, I don't really care what they've said. Like, if what they've said is funny and inappropriate, I'm like, do you know what? If you can get a laugh, you can get away with anything.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And same, like, we've kind of tried to, not in so many words, but like, I want our children to understand that if you are nice and kind and polite, 9 times out of 10, you can get what you want.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, if you're polite to people and you use your manners, you're way more likely to get what you want, and for them to be like, yeah, sure, great, like lovely manners, whatever. Like how you say things is so important. And so, like, I haven't said that's how you get what you want, but it's like people
That's
are
how you can
more
manipulate the
likely.
situation. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. But like people are more likely to want to go the extra mile or whatever if you just use your manners.
Yeah,
If
so
you speak to people in a nice way.
what we're saying is we need to write the kids' version of how to win friends and influence people.
Yes, exactly. That could be the little bedtime story. Like, if little Timmy was, say he went up to someone and said, hey, give me a glass of water, or said, excuse me, could I please trouble you for a glass of water?
For a refreshing glass of water.
Yeah, for a refreshing little tipple. Oh God, yeah, premenstrual anxiety. That's a that's a fun
And
one.
like,
Isn't it?
you just don't know what you're dealing with. I think like this is sort of a frustrating thing at this point. Is like, I don't know if I'm dealing with being premenstrual or perimenopause or life stresses or a combination of all of them. I'm like, what do I treat? Where do I go? What do I work on first? And then do you know what you do? You just end up writing it out. You write it out, and then eventually you're like, okay, I feel kind of normal again. I'll just forget that it ever happened until next time.
Totally. And I feel like if I feel like that, usually my number one thing is to be like, right, I'm going to sort my diet out. I'm going to be like filling myself with nutrients and nutrient dense foods, because I feel like that's going to do something. I don't
Yeah.
know what, but it might help what I'm experiencing, but it's not going to hurt. So
Yeah.
that's usually
That's
just my go-to, you
that's
know?
interesting. That's not my first go-to. My first
Mm,
go-to is, well, meditation, because I'm like, okay, I'm probably not rested enough. Meditation and then
mm.
exercise.
Yep.
So I'm like, both of those
Also
are gonna
brilliant.
juice, like, the happy chemicals in my
Yeah.
brain, and let's
Yeah.
see what we can do.
Oh, definitely. A good old exercise sesh. God, it feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then I'll just go and say hi to Kez. Hi to Kez in the
Yeah.
gym. Um,
Hey, Kez, look at me using this machine perfectly. Thank you. With perfect form. Oh, God.
I had an interesting chat the other day with the kids because I don't know, over the past number of months, I've kind of been thinking about, well, I think about this sometimes because my surname, Davison, was obviously my married name. It's also the
Mm,
name I share with my kids, but it's not the name that I was born with.
mm,
Like, my maiden name is Richie. And I'm like, there's a part of me that goes, what do I identify with?
mm,
And I kind of would like to have the name that I was born with. And for a long time, I was like, I just don't know what I will do with my name, or if I'll do anything, or, if I'll want to go back to my maiden name or not. I would certainly never change it again. I'd never
mm,
take anyone else's name again. Like, I kind of think now I regret changing my name when I got married,
mm,
even though it's the one I share with my kids. But I'm like, why did I give away part of who I was?
mm,
And so anyway, recently I've been thinking about that a lot, and I've been like, I don't know, there's a real part of me that would kind of like to go back to my maiden name and just be like, this is what I was born with,
yeah.
and this is who I am. But then I was like, well, I need to talk to the kids about it, because it's also important to me that we're connected, and that, you know, I have their name. That's what I think now.
Yeah.
It didn't go down well,
Okay.
Matty. Actually,
Okay.
my my son was like, "Yeah, I don't really care." So that was fine. And I looked over at my daughter, and she was like tearing up, and I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Nothing needs to change. Nothing needs to change."
Oh,
You know,
sweetheart.
it wouldn't mean anything was different. I'm still your mum, and as much your mum as I would be at all, but nothing needs to change.
Mm,
And she just, it really, it upset her to think that my name would change. I mean, I think like any change is kind of
mm.
unsettling. And in fact, I remember when my mum got remarried when I was a full adult, and she took my stepdad's name. And you know what? It bothered me.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Because it's just a word, but there's also a lot that we associate with that word as well,
Yeah.
and it means so much. We put so much on it. I mean, I don't know. It's hard because it's like you were born Hannah Ritchie, but it's also like you have done so much as Hannah Davison as
Mm.
well that you
Yeah.
shouldn't
This is like, I've
forget
built
about,
my
right? Like,
career
yep, yep, your
under
career,
Hannah
so
Davison.
many of your friends, the person that you are now is Hannah Davison, like, even though that was someone else's last
Yeah.
name, but it's like that's kind of you forging your own path with that name.
But I don't know. It's I've got a really weird relationship with my name. I would say now, like, I got over mum. Mum, I got over you changing your name. Like, and I was in my 20s when that happened. I don't know. It just felt like a step away from us. I
Mm,
think that's like, emotionally, it felt like a step away from us, even though I knew intellectually nothing. Like,
mm,
nothing is changing. But I've always had a weird relationship with my name, where I've never really felt deeply identified with Hannah,
mm,
or in fact Elizabeth, or in fact Richie, or, I don't know, like, it never felt like me.
mm,
And so I don't know, now I just sort of go, well, this also doesn't fit, but maybe it's because that's not who you are. Like,
mm.
it's kind of like for me, it feels a bit like a number plate. I'm like, yeah, that's how I get around in the world. This is what identifies me. But I don't know, I suppose it's just like a desire to feel like who you are and represent yourself in the world as close to who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, I
How
get
do you
that.
feel about your name? Like, because of this, I'm kind of like, well, what is in a name?
Yeah. But it's weird because I kind of feel the same as you, Ben. Like I don't love my name. I don't feel like, yep, I am Matilda Green. That's me. It's kind of the same as you. It's like a car that I drive that
Mm.
people recognize, and that's how they know that I'm there. It's not something that I feel hugely attached to. Like I don't know. I don't think I've ever really thought about it too much. Like I remember my sister when she was a teenager, and I would have been like, oh no, she must have been in her late teens. Maybe I was like 11 or something. And she came home stoned one night, and she laughed at my name for a good half hour.
You're like, tell me how you really feel.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
that's
I was
so
like, I was sort of
funny.
like laughing along for a while. I was like, yeah, I guess it is pretty funny. And then I was like, yeah, all right. All right.
I'm
That's
kind
all
of, I've got this now.
right.
It's not changing.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I would love to hear from people that have maybe changed their name, like
Mm.
first or last name, and if that made a difference in terms of how they feel as a person and how they
Yeah,
relate
like, I
to
mean,
that.
I don't think it's not going to create a big change, but it belongs to me, I guess.
Mm,
It just kind of belongs to me. And now I'm like, well, I guess I won't be doing that, which is fine. Maybe I'll do it
mm,
later. Maybe I'll do it when I'm older.
yeah. Yeah,
Maybe I
maybe.
won't care. Maybe I'll just maybe I've given
Yeah.
myself a whole new name. I don't know. But yeah, I've got a friend who moved away from her surname and went with her first and her middle name. And I considered that because I was like, because those are really mine. Those don't have anything to do with any man's family, a name that's been passed down through men.
Yeah.
But then I just didn't think it really had a ring to it.
So Hannah Elizabeth,
Yeah.
is that what it would have
Like
been?
Elizabeth, yeah, it's not really doesn't really roll as a surname, does it?
It's quite regal though, isn't it? Hannah
Oh,
Elizabeth.
that's true. That is true.
Yeah. I quite like it.
Oh, well, we'll run a
Yeah.
poll.
Bean Liz.
Oh God, no. No, no. Oh dear.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, whatever you decide, it will be the right decision,
Yeah,
right?
I've
So,
decided at this time to do nothing, which is what I've been deciding to do for
yeah.
the last 5 years.
It's on the back burner.
It's on the back burner. It's on the back burner again. I don't know. Every now and again, I'm like, I feel more strongly about it, and then that fades away.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that tends to happen, doesn't it? Like sometimes we get kind of fixated on things and then we're like, all right, I'm done with it now.
Yeah.
Well, it happens with me. I'm like, yeah, I really need to do this. And then I just kind of move on to something else.
Yeah. Are you
Mm.
fixated on anything at the moment?
Yeah, sewing. Yeah, I'm pretty fixated on my sewing. Yeah,
Oh my God.
I'm into
You've been
it. I'm
keeping
into it.
this you've been keeping this off the gram.
I have. Well, it's because it's been a little bit tumultuous, to be honest. And when I'm doing it, I get quite frazzled, and I only have these very small windows where I can do it with like no kid is going to be hanging off me. And I need to concentrate. I can't be getting the tripod out. I can't be doing stories. I just need to concentrate on cutting out the interfacing, figuring out where the fuck that goes on the fabric, and just learning as I go. But I'm really enjoying it. It doesn't sound like it. It sounds like it's quite stressful, and it is a little bit, to be honest. But
So yes, where is the fixation? Like you're like, it makes me frazzled. It's hard. I don't have any time.
but also like the creative part is so fun. Going to
Yeah.
Spotlight, I've got all this fabric.
Mm.
And I'm like, got all these plans, and I've got all these different patterns and fabrics and all the stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's my next one. I'm like, why don't I just finish the first thing? Okay. Let's just get through one project at a time. But I think the fixation is in the buying of the fabrics.
It's the acquisition.
That's the kicker. And so I think the dream is,
Go on.
the dream is
Yes.
that when the skill is there, when I can sew things proficiently, I'm going to have a little label. I'm going to take it to the markets on a Saturday
Oh,
and sell my little handmade pieces. I mean, excuse me, how cute.
that's adorable. I could see you doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd be all over it. It'd be great. So that's look out 2030. That's going to be me at the markets on a Saturday selling my little bits and bobs.
Oh, and it's so important to honor creative pursuits. It doesn't even matter what it is or what it's for.
Mhm.
Just honoring that creative part in you is massive.
Oh, I know.
Last night I was talking about writing because, technically a writer.
You're a
But
writer, yes.
yeah, but I was like, I do so little writing that's going to be published now. I write for things, but they are components of other things. And I was like, do you know what? Most of my creative writing now is speaking.
Mm.
It's actually just, translating the thoughts and the ideas and the things in my head through words in a very, very efficient way. Not polished, but in a very efficient way. I'm like, this is how I write now, is actually through speaking.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great way to put it, actually, because you do have such a way with words that I feel like only a writer would have,
Oh, thank you.
and yeah, you're right. That's another form of creativity. And I remember Georgia Vavasor talked about that in Pocket Guru a while ago,
Oh.
creativity. Yeah, and she was talking about how it's the act of creating something. So it doesn't have to be like painting or doing something that we put in the creative box, you know what I mean? Like poetry or painting or drawing or whatever. It can also be cooking. You can do it with your job. You can do it in so many ways. It's just the act of like creating something that you want to create or thinking about it. How am I going to create this? That is being creative, and it's different for everyone. And that really stuck with me, because now it's like when I'm cooking an exciting meal, or I'm like thinking about, oh, what am I going to cook tonight? I feel like cooking something a bit, bit left field. That's that creative flow coming
Yeah.
through,
And that's like such good energy. Like that's exciting and it's vibrant.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of like life-giving energy, is that energy of creation. Sometimes I'll send a friend like a really good voice note and I'll think, oh, that one.
That was creative.
That was a good one. I hope they star that one. That was some good content.
Yeah, they're going to be keeping that one for sure. Oh, it's so satisfying when I get a little, someone has kept your audio. I'm like, oh, yeah, it was a goodie, wasn't it?
From over text.
Yes.
Over text message. Yeah. I'm thinking WhatsApp. Don't get that. I was
No,
like,
but
wait, why haven't I known that people have been starring that? No, because WhatsApp.
Yeah, exactly. But you usually keep mine when I go on about a lot of different dates.
Yes. I'm going to have to circle back. Yeah.
Less about the content, more about the scheduling for that one. But that's all right. And lastly, there is something on our little list
which is again
to discuss.
Okay.
Certainly not what I was expecting. So please explain what the hell that is.
So, little peek behind the curtains, everybody. We have a WhatsApp chat together, and the only things we're allowed to put in it, just little nuggets for things that crop up in our minds, or a story or something that we might want to talk about on the pod. And that's how we come to where we are today.
We're not allowed to chit chat in that chat.
No,
it's
no
not
chit-chat.
For just everyday stuff.
Mm-mm.
No. Only content.
Take that elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But when I do that, I don't want to give too much away about what I'm going to tell her, because I'm like, I want to keep the story,
So it's just a little appetite whetter.
I know.
Just a little hors d'oeuvre.
Yeah. So recently, now I hasten to add that this started innocently enough. I was recommended an app. This is not sponsored, but could be, called Speechify, and it turns any like written document into an AI voice of your choosing. So it's all these stuff. Gwyneth Paltrow can read you a book or whatever. Anyway, we have to get through a lot of research. I'm just giving myself this caveat that it started innocently enough. We have to we have to do a lot of research. We've got to get through books and stuff. And so I was like, oh, I can do this by listening to the manuscript rather than reading the book. And it's got this really cool feature where, just stick with me, guys, where you can clone your own voice and make it an AI voice and read the book. So, should I do a little example?
Please do.
So, as a little example, I've just downloaded here The Art of War, where I can read it. So, this is what it sounds like. I've cloned my voice. This is what my AI voice is like.
Sun Tzu said, "The art of war is of vital importance to the state. It is a matter of life and death, a road either to safety or to ruin. Hence,
What do you reckon? Like,
It's very close.
it's close.
Very close.
Very close. So then I keep getting recommended, guys, who's into this dragon porn? This like the fourth wing?
I've heard of it. I didn't realize it was dragon porn. Okay.
Yeah, this is a whole new thing, dragon porn, and everyone's been recommending me the fourth wing, and I'm like, I'm not really into fantasy, blah blah blah. But I keep seeing the memes on Instagram as well of the obsession with it. I'm like, I need to know what's going on. I need to get into
Instagram's telling you.
the dragon porn. Anyway, as we discussed, dating a Scotsman, and I thought to myself, why don't we clone your voice?
And you can read me the
And
dragon
you
porn.
can read me the dragon porn. I'll play this very briefly.
Oh my god. Okay. Oh, I hope it's a sexy
I
bit.
slide my weapons into the sheaths, as though my ribs themselves have become weapons. The design is ingenious. Between my ribs and the sheaths at my thighs, the blades are easily accessible.
Excuse me.
Hello?
I mean that. Like it maybe wasn't meant to be, slightly saucy.
I know.
But
It's amazing what an accent can do.
it certainly is. Oh my god.
Right.
It's hilarious. Because who's got time to read a whole novel to someone, right? So
No.
clone your voice.
Yeah.
And then you can get your partner to read you some dragon porn. That's perfect.
It's a win-win. It's good for them. They don't have to do it. And it's good for you.
Yours sounds quite like, remember that kind of British New Zealand accent that
Yeah.
radio broadcasters had in like the 70s?
Yeah.
That I feel like that's what yours sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
Sounds sort of like that old New Zealand British kind of sounding voice.
Yeah, it could have been on Radio New Zealand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't get the voice exactly right, but it's definitely close enough.
Yeah. It could be you for sure.
Amazing, eh?
Oh,
So
I
anyway,
want to try it.
what cool
God, I hope
technology.
they don't own it.
No, they
cheap-
don't. No.
Oh,
No.
amazing.
And you've got to like put in that you consent and that it's your voice and all this sort of stuff. But yeah, it's a really cool app. I would say not cheap, but considering how much I'm going to use it for work and stuff, worth it.
As well as Scottish dragon porn,
Scottish dragon porn.
But you could argue that is work because we've played it on the pod. So actually,
It's now tax deductible.
yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've also just had Penny join the chat. Just so you know,
Welcome
if
to
you
the
can
show, Pen. Hello, Penny Green. Hello. Haven't had you on for a while. Great to see you.
Hi. That little clicking she does is like her way of communicating. She goes,
Oh, oh my God, she's so cute. She's so cute. Well, I imagine she now has other things, other tasks she would like for you to perform, rather than
Yeah,
sitting on a
she's-
podcast. So
she's
let's
done
wrap
with
this
me
up.
doing this.
Yeah. The tolerance for this has gone.
Yes, yeah. She's like, okay, righto. It was cool for a bit. Now I'm done with it.
Yeah, we're done. Well, Maddie, it's been an absolute delight. And
Okay, there we go.
okay.
She's got the mic.
She's got the mic now.
Do you want to say something, Pen? Do you want to say hello?
No, she's
Trying to
eating
eat
the
it.
mic.
Okay, she's trying to
Okay,
eat
great.
it. Right.
All right. Well, look,
Okay.
guys, everybody, thank you so much for listening. Please send us in your stories, your comments, your suggestions, anything else that we've asked for at the podcast.
Please do.
Your creative direction for Feet Finder.
I've lost track what I've asked for, to be honest. So I'm excited to check the DMs.
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh yeah, that's right. I asked for that. Oh, Ben. Okay. Radio.
Go.
Hey,
All right.
lots of love and thanks everyone for listening as always. And we'll catch you next week, same time, same place. God, she's really trying to get in there. Really trying to
Oh my God.
gnaw on it.
She really is. All right. Mate wa, everybody.
Matewa. Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of Untidy. If you enjoyed it, we would really love your help to support us to continue to make the show. Things you can do that make a huge difference is subscribing to the show so you never miss an episode. You can also leave us a little 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And of course, please share this podcast with your mates. It means that we can continue to build this community, keep putting out untidy episodes, and just keep doing what we love to do.
And don't forget to check out mybigmoments.com for kids' books that make your tricky job of parenting just a whole lot easier. Untidy listeners get a discount at checkout, so just pop in Untidy for 10% off your order when you check out. And lastly, we would like to thank all of the good people that make this podcast possible: Flicker Williams and Joe Rocker at My Big Moments for the beautiful artwork and design, and Maxine London Creative for editing this episode. Thank you so much, guys. Take care. We'll see you soon. Mā te wā.